And we continue at 2:06 in the afternoon on the John Phillips Show. Mr. Randy Wings in Culver City.
Well, if you wanted to know what the priorities of Los Angeles are, last night it was announced that Karen Bass is directing the severely understaffed LAPD to provide a 24/7 detail protecting former Vice President Kamala Harris for her book tour.
We are clear and have been clear.
And apparently she's sending her best, too.
The elite units, the ones that cost a lot of money, are going to protect her while she goes to make money on a book as someone that is no longer in elected office, that has a big enough salary to afford a home in Brentwood and her own security.
Well, I guess if the malls are the war zones that they appear to be, maybe you do need some muscle before you go sign some books at the Barnes & Noble.
I will repeat myself.
Gavin's given her CHP detail, too.
What's left? Is she going to get the mall cops, too? She's going to get HOA security?
Again, this isn't for any official duties. She doesn't have a government job anymore. This is to go on a book tour.
And it's about exactly as you would expect from Karen Bass and Gavin Newsom. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number, 1-800-222-5222. Well, you don't see this too often, but there have been a series of stories in the news involving all kinds of chaos surrounding RVs.
We've got RVs that are in a feud with a business owner in Westchester, RVs that are making a giant stink in Winnetka in the San Fernando Valley, and, because it's Oakland, RV dwellers that say someone keeps taking shots at them. Johnny, let's start near LAX in Westchester as Fox 11 dispatches the great Ed Laskos to cover the feud between a business owner and the homeless people that won't leave his property.
That's not going to end well.
And Marla, those RVs, the homeless, they are still there right in front of this business. The city came by with one of its care units earlier.
Can we stop having fake acronyms for every single thing?
You know, RVs were built so families could go on vacation and see, I don't know, national parks. They weren't built for bums to live in.
In California, they were.
Cleaned up the trash, but a few hours later, the RVs, everything else, it's back. And then you have the business owner, the one who's been blasting out all that loud noise, disturbing noise. He's out with some video tonight saying enough's enough, and he says the video proves his point about just how threatening it's become. Watch this.
So this all started because the RV people were complaining that this business owner was blasting noise outside his business to, quote-unquote, torture them.
Yeah, because they're the ones being tortured living on a street in an RV.
Opening fire hydrant, shooting out the water for the showers.
Oh, boy.
Totally normal behavior.
I mean, I guess we should be appreciative that they want to bathe.
Okay, what kind of water pressure do you think is in a fire hydrant? Wouldn't that blow the crazy person up to a 747 taking off?
When you're on meth, you can withstand all kinds of pain.
You know, if it actually did blow them up into the flight path of a plane, I might support their ability to do it.
To overnight break-ins with the homeless, see them there wandering through the business, to even swinging away, fighting with the workers.
Again, totally normal behavior.
And that now has Custom Goods for the very first time speaking out about the growing threat from this homeless encampment and its urgent action to clean it up.
That's the noise that they play overnight to scare these a-holes away. And so far, apparently, the city doesn't think that it's a problem.
Okay, it sounds like crickets, doesn't it?
Yes.
About the growing threat from this homeless encampment and its urgent action to clean it up.
The moment they leave, these people leave, these sounds will disappear.
Seems like a simple proposition. They shouldn't be there. When the city gets rid of these people, I'll turn off the annoying noise.
But this is what happens when the city refuses to do its job. You need an act of Congress to move the bums along. It shouldn't take that much. They're parked there illegally. They will not leave. They're bathing in the fire hydrants. Kick them out.
And this is in a council district that has a council district person that does care about this issue. This is a Tracy Park area. What the hell?
Until then, this noise is on full blast.
What are you going to do?
If you can withstand that, you are on a whole lot of drugs.
Well, the schizophrenics living in that RV, that noise is so loud they can't even hear the voices in their head.
What are you going to do? Hey, it's nature. Figure it out. It's cicadas, crickets, birds. It's what it is. At some point, it does get annoying, right? But
at what point do you just contact your local apiarist and fill these RVs full of bees?
I'm telling you, I'm not condoning any illegal behavior, but it can be helpful to always keep a certain number of shady people in your life.
apparently not for them.
It's a noisy standoff for now here on 102nd Street, just off Century near LAX. The homeless with their RVs and their trash and everything else that comes with it.
Thank you, Ed, for not getting too descriptive in what exactly is in those RVs and outside those RVs.
But we all know what you're talking about.
Everything else that comes with it.
Well, we got hypodermic needles thrown over. We have drugs. They've lit our fence on fire.
Again, totally normal behavior.
What I will never understand with the city of Los Angeles and their inaction to do anything about the homeless, regardless of the phony baloney statistics, is why can't you do anything when these people start fires?
They don't do anything, and then if you do something as the shopkeeper who is having your business destroyed, then they come down on you like a ton of bricks.
Well, we got hypodermic.
If this guy got so fed up that he torched one of these RVs, he'd be behind bars.
Oh, yeah. No, they treat him like he's Jack the Ripper.
Well, we got hypodermic needles thrown over. We have drugs. They've lit our fence on fire.
Fox.
But these, of course, are our poor, unhoused Angelino neighbors.
Yeah, it's not drugs that's a problem. It's the high cost of housing.
Fox 11 News first reporting on this tense standoff earlier in the week, with the homeless calling this loud noise disturbing, vowing to stay put.
You know you can leave.
Yeah, not unless the city forces them, and the city has no intention of doing that.
If they take that away from me, I would definitely camp out right in front of...
Again, I don't want to stereotype. I would never want to do that. But, John, just based on the 3 seconds that you just heard of one of these RV dwellers, you can just hear the meth.
I can hear the math in every word.
If they take that away from me, I would definitely camp out right in front of this place with a tent.
You can tell just based on the cadence of somebody's voice if they're a meth head.
Why is this person not in an institution?
Oh, we don't do that.
If they take that away from me, I would definitely camp out right in front of this place with a tent or something, because there's nowhere else for me to go.
We don't have nowhere to go. That's all we have. Right. Just that little corner. And for her to do that, I don't see why.
Right, you can't leave.
We can't leave.
Right.
So,
But there's a looming deadline.
It's a lot easier to move out the homeless that aren't paying to be there than for the business owner to upend his livelihood because the city won't clean up the garbage.
And how are you supposed to keep your insurance policy if the bums keep lighting fires?
Oh, you don't.
But there's a looming deadline. The city just posting these signs. No overnight parking, it says, with the restrictions, see it there, aimed directly at the RVs and at the homeless.
This is how slow the city is to react to this. Even when you have a member of the city council that wants to do something about this, you have to go before the council and have them vote on this specific street. Then you have to put up signs. And then after 3 days of notifying all the people that shouldn't be there anyway, then you can stage a cleanup, which then they can come back immediately right after.
And you have to hope that some Newsom-appointed judge doesn't say what you're doing is illegal.
At what point, as a business owner or trying to run a reputable business, is enough enough?
Now live, enough's enough, he says. He says he's been in contact with Tracy Park, the councilwoman for this area, also Mayor Bass. Nothing but frustration, but there is some hope.
Of course, Bass is just doing a hell of a job on homelessness now, isn't she?
Is she in Ghana again?
Mayor Bass, nothing but frustration, but there is some hope from his standpoint. Anyway, he was saying, you saw those signs that LAPD posted about the parking restrictions. They haven't enforced it yet, so businesses there are saying, come on, but apparently some of the businesses are now being told by LAPD that if those RVs are not removed by Friday, the police will come in there and they'll clean out the area. So the standoff continues at least for the next couple of days and nights. For now, we're live here at Westchester. Back to the west side we go.
But let me tell you how this works. Because, John, people might not know this, but in the city of Los Angeles, the LAPD isn't even the department responsible for getting rid of the RVs. This is a Department of Transportation issue, not a law enforcement issue. So they will put up the sign saying you can't park here. And then Department of Transportation will come by and give tickets to these RVs. And then a week later, they'll give tickets to these RVs. And then a week after that, they'll give tickets to these RVs. And I think when they pile up to 7, then they can finally tow the RVs, where they end up in a police impound lot, which they don't have any room for. So they put these things on auction for $50. A landlord buys them and puts them right back out on the street.
And, of course, that's why they took it away from the cops. The cops could have this problem taken care of lickety-split, but they don't want someone with a badge and a gun showing up, because then the homeless are going to act out and they're going to end up in jail.
Now, in Oakland, we have a very different situation where it's the RV dwellers who want the police to get involved because they say someone keeps taking shots at their RVs.
Uh-oh.
For more, here is KTVU Fox 2.
More shots fired at homeless people living in their vehicles in Oakland. We first reported these shootings back in July, and now residents tell us the attacks have continued and have even gotten worse.
Why wouldn't you leave?
This is one of these cases where I'm willing to accept the city's usual answer. We're understaffed. We've got too many problems. Fill out a form online.
KTVU's Jana Katsuyama joins us live from along Hollis Street with the new details. Jana?
Claudine, it's been 7 weeks since we were last out here, and some of these residents say that someone is still shooting at their vehicles where they live. Some of the windows have holes. And
why wouldn't you move?
I think that's the impression they're trying to give them.
You are in a vehicle. It is not landlocked. If someone's taking shots at you, maybe you go somewhere else.
But the meth says stay there.
You can see over there with that RV, they've actually boarded.
By the way, it's Oakland, so we don't know if this is intentional or it's just loose bullets.
You can see over there with that RV, they've actually boarded it up because there were so many holes in the side of their RV. They want police to do something, and they're asking for Oakland police to just look at some of the surveillance cameras in the area to try and see if they can spot the vehicle.
It's happened almost every other day since you guys left.
Wyatt Clark said since our last interview, July 16th, the shootings have continued.
And you don't leave?
Nope, they stay there. They're willing to take their chances.
He didn't want his face on camera, but he showed us the metal balls the size of marbles that he and other people have been finding after each shooting.
Okay, so just to clarify, the people that are shooting at the RVs are not shooting them with guns.
Yes, they're not shooting them with ammunition that appears to be deadly, which leads me to believe they're trying to send a message.
Everywhere there's been shot, window shot, you can find them under the RVs, in the weeds.
Once again, you can tell just by the inflection in somebody's voice that they have inhaled methamphetamine a time or two in their lives.
As in 10 minutes before the interview?
And 10 minutes after.
The front window of Clark's bus, where he lives, had been shot.
He lives in an abandoned bus?
How much space does an abandoned bus take up in a neighborhood?
It's Oakland. There's abandoned cars and abandoned garbage everywhere.
The front window of Clark's bus, where he lives, had been shot 3 times last July. Now it has 13 holes.
I want to feel bad for these people. I'm trying.
Okay, let me give you something that's just going to drip with sincerity. Are you ready?
Sure.
That's a shame.
How Seinfeldian of you.
That's as much as I'm willing to do.
And he showed us the bus's back window, which also was shot, shattering the glass.
Some girl that was visiting in one of the RVs over there got hit in the eyeball.
Other people living in their vehicles on Hollis Street say they're worried more people will be hurt.
I was sitting outside here in the chair.
He said sitting.
Yes, he did. That's just the math that makes it sound weird.
He has a lot of missing teeth, so it sounds a little different.
Sitting.
I'm just going to bleep it just to be careful. But you all understand, he said sitting. But meth destroys your teeth.
I was outside here.
Also, he could have been doing that.
Yeah, that is true.
In the chair one morning, and all of a sudden I heard the glass breaking. And I got up. By the time I got up...
Okay, how riddled out and addicted to drugs are you that you don't think to flee when someone is taking shots at you?
And you're so proud of your broken down RV that you're just sitting out in a rocking chair in front of it like you're Bartles and James?
This is an indictment of the complete failure that is government.
And I got up. By the time I got up, I seen it. He shot out the window to the van that was parked here, and he was already down the street.
John Cardone Sr. and his son, John Cardone Jr. say...
Oh, boy. A father and son meth duo both living in an RV in Oakland.
2 generations? Why can't the meth make you impotent?
How exactly was it worse when all these people were in prison?
That's where they should be, not living on the street in a broken down bus.
John Cardone Sr. and his son, John Cardone Jr., say many victims have seen a silver Toyota hatchback driving by around the time of the attacks.
John and John don't seem to care much for their livelihoods because they stick around and keep doing meth while they keep getting shot at.
Oh, there's that car again. Bang, bang.
But so far, they say Oakland police have come by just once, and the residents are frustrated that the shootings continue.
Are they residents?
No, they're squatters.
He needs to be caught. There's no reason for it. We're not doing nothing to nobody. We're just trying to survive.
I am so sick of homeless people who are bothering everybody saying, I'm just trying to survive, man.
We're not doing nothing to nobody.
We're just trying to survive.
Person's just been more and more persistent on tormenting us and shooting out our windows and at our vehicles.
Many say they feel neglected and wonder why...
How do we get somebody that's got a lot of money to just hire a whole bunch of tow trucks and tow all these people out into the middle of the desert where Burning Man is?
They would end up back on that same block in Oakland 2 days later.
Well, then you remove all the tires.
They don't need tires to live in the van.
Many say they feel neglected and wonder why police can't find the vehicle looking at security cameras in the area.
Police in Oakland can't solve shootings of actual residents.
What makes you think this is going to become a priority?
So that's the latest on the Oakland RV dwellers that seem to not mind getting shot at.
Well, that's just too bad, isn't it? It's just too bad. When will they ever learn? Guess there's nothing you can do about it. And for whatever reason, well, we know the reason, there's lots of chaos going on in the state of California involving RVs. We told you what's going on in Westchester and in Oakland, but Randy, we have a hat trick.
Let's go to the new RV problem emerging in the Winnetka neighborhood of the San Fernando Valley of Los Angeles. Here's KTLA.
Concerned residents say their neighborhood is being taken over by people living in RVs, and tonight they're asking for help to keep their community clean and safe.
Some neighbors tell KTLA they believe some of the people living in the RVs could be involved in drug dealing.
You don't say.
That's a shocker.
KTLA's Mary Beth McDade is live in Winnetka with more on this story. MB?
Yeah, Mike and Chair, many residents say that they are just feeling frustrated and helpless about what to do with all these RV encampments taking over their communities. They say they are fearful for their health and their safety.
This big RV started first, and then this van conversion along with the trailer, and then this is the newest one.
Winnetka residents have been
They will start to multiply.
You allow one to park illegally and allow one crazy person to live there, and suddenly the crazy person tells all their friends.
And then this is the newest one.
Winnetka residents have been sounding the alarm about an increase of people living in parked RVs and trailers on city streets for several months now.
I've been through this so many times.
Several months.
This is a city that fails to enforce the law.
And let me just remind every single resident of a place like the city of Los Angeles, but this applies to a lot of cities in the state. Don't wait to call the news. Don't wait months of trying to go through the proper channels of city council if you're not getting an answer. Shame them on TV.
Once they get shamed on TV, they'll do something about it. Until they get shamed on TV, they're going to ignore you and tell you the wheels are turning.
I've been through this so many times in this neighborhood that I know it's just going to keep on going. Now, if you go just a little bit farther down on Winnetka, there's several schools. You have an elementary school, a junior high, and then the Pierce College. It's lined with RVs.
John Shreve and others have sent us numerous photos and videos of some of the impacted streets, such as Chase Street and Winnetka Avenue, where there are numerous RV encampments, many by schools and parks.
Oh, great.
Just where you want a bunch of crazy drug addicts.
My biggest concern is the kids down the street, because, with all these schools, they're seeing all this trash. They're
going to get a real education.
The school of hard knocks.
They're seeing all the open drug use.
Residents tell us they've contacted the city councilman of District 3, Bob Blumenfield, several times.
Let me guess. No response?
Yeah, I think if they were satisfied, this wouldn't be on the news.
Well, I don't understand why things can't be done about this. We've complained, all my neighbors and myself have complained to Bob Blumenfield several times, and nothing gets done.
KTLA also reached.
This is a construct of the city. If the city's not doing anything about this, it's because the city doesn't want to do anything about this. You look at what San Jose is doing right now, where Matt Mahan is working on clearing out the largest homeless encampment at Columbus Park. They're paying people to buy off their disgusting RVs, or they're telling them to get the hell out.
If the city has the will to do something about it, this problem could be solved almost immediately.
KTLA also reached out to Blumenfield's office earlier today, and then a short time later, a Department of Transportation officer showed up to cite the vehicles.
I'm shocked.
But again, they're just starting a paper trail. It's not like they show up with a tow truck.
Of course, we're not certain that our call was the reason. But how is it that you happen to show up today when the media's here, when he's been calling on it for months?
I got the order, ma'am. So
And what are you citing them for today?
I'm citing them for being parked more than 72 hours.
They've been parked there for months.
And they're going to pretend like the news didn't motivate this into happening.
If you drive around L.A., you see a lot of those white Priuses that say parking enforcement. Those are the DOT vehicles. And they sure love to go around neighborhoods when it is street sweeper day, even though the street sweeper doesn't come, so they can give you a ticket. But where are these Priuses patrolling a street that's been plagued by RVs for months and months and months?
Well, they don't care about the quality of life aspect of it. What they care about is the revenue.
And we have certain policies at the DOT that make it so we don't go after, quote unquote, scofflaws. So even if you don't pay your parking tickets, we don't tow your vehicle.
John says he and his neighbors have also reached out to the LAPD, but have gotten nowhere. He says many of those living in their parked vehicles appear to be suffering from mental illness, drug abuse, or both.
Yep.
Who wants them living in their neighborhood?
Nobody. Well, the city of L.A. does.
Do you have any idea what that does to the quality of life in a neighborhood when you have crazy people who should be institutionalized living in unsanitary conditions in front of your house?
But don't you worry. Karen Bass says homelessness is down.
Thanks, Karen.
There are so much services, even for these folks. There are so much services out there. But
he wanted to say something harder than folks, but he's on the TV.
Yeah.
Take this guy out for a beer. He'll tell you how he really feels.
These folks, there are so much services out there, but they refuse to take it because there's rules.
They don't want rules. They want to live on the streets where there are no rules. And they want to be waiting on a list for that permanent supportive housing where the government pays for them to do drugs in an apartment for the rest of their lives.
Well, if they take the apartment, my guess is they'll still be in one of the encampments because that's where all the fun is.
Well, yes. You don't have to give up your RV.
And we did just a short time ago get a statement back from Blumenfield's office. He says, my staff and I are aware of the RVs and ongoing issues at this location. He goes on to say we are working with city departments, including LA Sanitation and LAPD, to conduct a cleanup.
Not good enough, Bob.
Nope. Those RVs should be gone pronto.
Now, we also heard back from the LAPD on this issue, and they say that they do not deal with illegal RV parking, that is up to the LA Department of Transportation. For now, reporting live here in Winnetka, Mary Beth McDade. We'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
So there you go. Yet another example of the failure of government to do the simplest thing, clear out dangerous RVs from neighborhoods with kids.
More unnecessary chaos in Gavin Newsom's California. Let's go to Mike in San Jose. Mike, hello.
How you doing? I got a couple things. The guys, the people that won't leave the store, there was a guy in L.A. that cranked up opera 24/7, and they disappeared because they didn't like the opera. The people in Oakland, you can go to the Bass Pro Shop and get a little bottle of it's called skunk scent for hunting, and it's the smell actually out of skunk glands, and it's been put on someone's tires before, and they steam cleaned their truck 3 times, and people still rolled their windows up at stoplights. You just drop a bottle of that outside on the ground, and people will disappear because it is strong.
But doesn't that just smell like the marijuana that we inhale everywhere we go in the state of California?
Yeah. Okay, well then how about a bottle of fish sauce from the Asian market?
Hey, I like the smell of fish sauce.
I dropped a bottle of that in my driveway one time. It took me over an hour to wash it off. It was bad.
No.
It was so strong.
It's bottled anchovy juice.
Ew.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but don't ever drop it. It's a good one. Love your show. Take care.
All right. Thank you for the call, sir. I appreciate it. All right, Randy, we have an update on a story that we talked about earlier in the week regarding illegal dumping in Oakland.
There's more of it, and this is how prevalent it is and how big of a problem it is, as a big old truck was carrying a whole bunch of trash to the point where a pallet was sticking out, caught on some communication lines, wiped out everyone's internet, and they just decided to dump everything outside of the Coliseum. Just another day in the Bay. Here's KPIX.
All right, turning now to Oakland. A landscaping truck carrying debris snags on overhanging communication wires.
By the way, you want to know the simplest fix for illegal dumping? And this is true in Los Angeles and it's true in Oakland. The illegal dumping fines have to be more than what it costs to go to the dump.
Yeah, if you don't make it that way, guess what you're going to get more of?
When I listened to that Encino Neighborhood Council meeting about all the illegal dumping and the homelessness in the Sepulveda Basin where there's a fire every single day, one of the things that stuck out at me was the fine if you're caught illegal dumping is $500. You know how much it costs to take a truckload of trash to the dump? $1,500.
And they're not going to catch you every time. They'll catch you infrequently.
Almost never.
A landscaping truck carrying debris snags on overhanging communication wires. You can see in this video, the driver then just takes off. Sarah Donchie has a closer look at the incident that's causing some serious headaches for nearby businesses, and the video shows it.
By the way, this is another thing that doesn't get talked about enough. And who's doing the illegal dumping? It's a lot of contractors.
Well, they have licenses from the state. If you catch a licensed contractor dumping illegally, pull their license.
Yeah, this is one of those things where it sounds like at first maybe it's not.
When you get your kitchen remodeled, all that old tile ends up in a lake somewhere. Because they don't want to pay to take it to the dump.
Yeah, this is one of those things where it sounds.
By the way, you know how a city that functions works? To mention San Jose one more time. San Jose, in every council district, has dumpster days where they pay for a dumpster to go in. They pick up all the trash. You can put whatever you want in there, and then they haul it off, and it doesn't cost anybody anything. And that's why that's a much cleaner city in the Bay.
Well, my city is pretty organized, too. If you have boxes that you need to get rid of, that gets picked up on a certain day. If you have styrofoam, they have specific bags that they want you to put it in. They'll take the styrofoam on specific days. You have to call them and let them know that you want it to be picked up. But there's an order to the world. It's not like you just leave it in a random place.
Yeah, this is one of those things where it sounds like at first maybe it's not a big deal, but then it ended up spiraling and causing a huge mess and a big inconvenience, Juliet. Whoever was driving the truck ended up dumping the debris a few blocks away right outside the Coliseum complex. Let's look at the video.
Well, it's not like any games are being played there except for that big soccer match this weekend.
Yeah, it's not going to block any A's fans from getting in.
Let's look at the video again. So this all happened just after 9 o'clock this morning on Baldwin Street, just off Hagenberger. Surveillance video from...
Of course. Gavin.
Hagenberger.
That street seems to pop up in the news every day.
Surveillance video from a business caught that truck driving down the street when a large piece of what looked like a pallet standing up inside of the truck got caught in the overhead wires, and that snapped the wires, and it cut the internet at nearby businesses.
That's going to be a problem.
They had a pallet sticking out so high from this truck that it cut communication lines, could have cut power lines, which would have been a disaster.
They then dumped the container and something that looked like the pallet outside of the Oakland Coliseum. Later, someone apparently went back and grabbed the dumpster but left the pallet there. PG&E came out to Baldwin.
Hey, I'm sure someone will clean this up.
Who? The city administrator?
Justin Johnson.
PG&E came out to Baldwin Street to check that none of the electrical wires were damaged, which is obviously very important. AT&T was informed about the damaged communication line. City Council member Ken Houston says this all could have been handled if the driver had been willing to take accountability when this happened.
Be responsible. Stop. Pull over. This could have been hazardous. They could have hit the electrical lines. They're lucky they hit the communication line.
That truck driver was on a mission to dump his load in Oakland.
He should be the one guy that follows the rules in that town.
How many trucks do you think a day drive into Oakland just to dump trash?
Oh, I'm sure a lot of it comes from neighboring communities.
But it's affecting all the businesses around here. The good thing about...
It's almost like the entire Bay uses Oakland as the dumping ground for all the trash and all the homeless and all the crime. They can take this one city away, let the rest of the Bay be clean.
Well, those are some people Barbara Lee speaks for.
The good thing about this is the businesses are coming together, right, to say enough is enough.
So the city sent out waste management trucks to pick up the pallets from the Coliseum area.
And they're only doing that because of that fancy soccer match.
The soccer match, and the news is reporting on it. If the news didn't report on it and the soccer match wasn't happening, they would not have internet for weeks. How long has that DMV been taken offline after the copper wire got stolen?
Months.
It was too heavy to lift up, so they had to break it up and used a crane arm to remove it. See what I mean? Kind of just a spiraling mess. So we reached out to the truck company KNC Environmental. Someone who identified himself as a manager said they were unaware of the incident, then hung up when we told them we were with KPIX News. Councilmember Houston.
I'm telling you, it is the business practice of so many companies to just dump in the cities where they know nobody cares. It happens in L.A., especially the unincorporated parts of L.A. County, and it happens in Oakland. It is cheaper to illegally dump and almost never get caught than to properly dispose of garbage.
I love the fact that the group that did it had the name environmental in their group, in their name, too.
Councilmember Houston predicts it'll take a while before the communication line is repaired, Juliette. So just an unfortunate series of events. Obviously, that's a big inconvenience if you're trying to run a business and you can't get any internet.
It could have started out as an accident until they dumped the pallets somewhere and then chose not to
to
talk. Anyway, all right, Sarah, thank you.
You know, there's a theme to today's show, Randy.
What's that?
Just another totally normal day here in the insane asylum.
Oh, look at this. Jimbo writes in at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. I go to the Santa Clara transfer station all the time for my job. I build fences. I can dump 2,000 pounds of old fence for $90. Rubbish goes for $125 a ton. There is no excuse to illegally dump.
But that's what people do in Oakland because, well, why not?